What is it about our communication, do you think, that makes us accidentally disliked by other people?
It sounds fake.
It sounds fake. And how does it sound fake? Give me some color.
If you want to know the secret, if somebody's being fake with you, there's really three things that you gotta know. Number one, it's what I call bestie bombing.
Bestie bombing?
Yeah. So
Oh
instead of
God.
like love bombing, it's bestie bombing. I have people who come to me all the time I feel like somebody's being fake with them. And what they're doing is it's, oh my gosh, we're literally the same person. Oh, I think we're best friends. And we just met. Like or you talk, we're just standing next to each other at the same party. And they're like, oh, we've got to go. Oh my gosh, you're my soulmate. And it's like they give way too much right out of the gate of how much they love you.
Yeah.
And it's nothing, it's not what secure people do. Secure people don't attach to you instantly.
Is that a form of manipulation?
No, it's a form of insecurity. It's a form, because if it would be manipulation if they actually meant it. But they don't. It's these inauthentic relationships that all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, we're gonna be best friends. I love you so much. And you're like, I don't even know your last name. What are you talking about? So you see that a lot. Two is the over compliments. We all have this sixth sense to be able to sniff out if that's real or not. Like nobody needs to teach you if it's a fake laugh or not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, right. I don't know, was that real or not, Steve?
That was real.
Yeah.
It's so funny, yeah, because we think we can spot everyone else's fake laugh and no one can spot ours.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly right. It's like, but nobody had to teach that to you. Nobody had to say, hey, if you hear it like this, it's a fake laugh. No. We all, as humans, we have an ability, a sense to go, that didn't sound real. That's not a real smile. You know, people have their like photo smile and the real smile.
Yeah.
And the same with the laughter, or like that wasn't that funny. Or they over compliment something. They compliment your shoes. I mean, and then they go, oh my gosh, I love that outfit. And then all of a sudden they've turned their head. You know what I mean? They're not really truly engaged in what it is. It's just, it's a ritual to them of that's how they have learned. Because to me, if you have to perfectly curate yourself, this sense of perfection, you're not getting the real human. You're getting a person in character. You're getting them in and seen. You know, they have to like get into it. And so it's something that's so fake every single time. And then the third that you have to watch out for are the people that aren't willing to actually have an interest in you. Meaning they never ask anything about you. They're only wanting to talk about themselves. Like, have you ever been I know you have, and you're networking in a big room and somebody's looking at you and all of a sudden they're looking at the room. Like they're looking for who they're gonna talk to next. And you've lost them. And so it's like, why we're both just kind of here saying things. We're gonna slow down our words so it's not as awkward. And you say things like, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, and like while you're both looking for somebody else to talk to. But that's what happens. You realize you come out of focus and they're looking for the next person.
A really surprising point of feedback or a compliment someone gave me once, and it's surprising because I never considered it to be something that people were noticing, is when I do like meet and greets, and you're meeting, say, 100 people before or after a talk or whatever, and they're coming up one at a time, I will get DMs in the preceding days of people telling me that they liked the way that they watched me pay attention to someone else. Do you get this?
All the time.
Yeah.
They're watching.
They're watching how interested you are in the person that's talking to you. And I didn't, obviously it's not something I'd thought about before until I probably had about 20 messages over the last year or two from people saying, and do you know what I noticed, Stephen? How much you were paying attention to the person that spoke to you.
Right.
Not to them.
Exactly.
They were in the line waiting. But it's and I just thought that's so interesting that we judge other people by how they interact with other people while we're watching as well.
Right.
And that being interested is seen as, makes you likable, I guess.
Presence is the highest form of authenticity. Like, I can talk to you, but am I here with you? Do I have my eyes with you? Am I interested in you? Am I easily distracted? Am I have my phone? Am I really paying attention, or am I making sure that you know you are the most important thing that's happening in this moment, even if it's a glimmer, and even if it's for 30, 20 seconds and you're doing a meet and greet and you're saying hi or you're signing their book. Do you ask them their name? Do you use their name? Do you look at them with intent of true, genuine, thank you for being here? None of this would happen if not for you. People are watching the whole time, and they know. I mean, it's such a, it's like what you know it when you feel it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And to me, it's presence. Am I truly here with you? Okay, because even at the house, you can say, well, I'm home all the time, but are you just looking on your phone? Are you just sitting on the couch? Are you always reading? That's not presence.
I'm going to play this video on the screen for anyone that's watching the video.
Okay.
But it immediately made me think of this clip that went viral of Miley Cyrus and Naomi Campbell.
Oh, I haven't seen this.
They were doing a meet and greet together, and they were just chatting to each other and kind of ignoring the fans. And you can...
Right behind you. 1, 2, 3. There you go.
And I just remember thinking, this is like the antithesis of what we've just said.
Mm-hmm. It's painful to watch. I know it's painful for the people. I mean, it's several layers of where, one, it's an area of really little forgiveness. If you think of somebody of her caliber, so to say, of like her celebrity, right? Seen thousands, millions. It's happened, and is there really room for just having a conversation with somebody? Like if you're her, what would be the justification, right? If you could just pause and say, what is it? Maybe you say, well, there isn't any. Okay, that's fine. But let's say, one, when it comes to presence, there's really not any room for forgiveness. It's either you're present with them or you're not, because this kind of thing can last forever. Second of all, people will forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And people will remember you, Stephen, they will tell their kids and their grandkids of the time that they met you and how nice you were, how present you were, and how you were genuinely interested in them. And that makes all the difference. If you have one slip up, that's when I say it's not very forgivable. When you have one slip up, it's showing applied to all. Because if you can do it to them, you can do it to me.
The slip up will also travel much further.
Faster too.
Yeah, faster.
Because I guarantee you, you think of all the meet and greets that somebody like that has had, and it's had genuine, real interest. They mess up one time, they get tired one time. Well, then all of a sudden, that's what travels way faster. So, but the thing is that's why I say presence is the highest form of authenticity, because if you can take that moment to be truly interested in somebody, because who am I? I'm a guy from a small town who made videos in my car, and you're going to come to my book signing, and you traveled and you flew in 2 hours? Like, why would I not? Hold up, take the line. Let me spend 3 minutes with you. Can I give 3 minutes of my life to talk to you? What are you doing here? And so when you have that humility, and there's several people, I know you know many names, of they forgot how they got what they got.
Oh, yeah. I have a really interesting example of this recently where we appointed a new chairman to our company. Mm-hmm. He's called Nicky. And incredible guy. He's been Procter & Gamble doing product for, 12 years, then went to Boston Consulting Group and was one of the senior figures at Boston Consulting Group for 25 years. And, he's in the home stretch of his career. Mm. And he joined our company, and he is, he's achieved so much. He's worked with the biggest, the best in the world globally.
Right.
So he's got the right, one would say,
I like that
to
word.
be a certain way. That's what someone might say. But I'm over here in Los Angeles. He joins the company as chairman. And the interesting feedback I got, 5,000 miles away, was a very junior member of the team came up to me and said, "Oh, I love Nicky." And I was like, "Explain." And he went, "He sat down with me and gave me an hour of his time. That was the reason he loved him."
That was it.
That was it. It was presence. And what later found out was that Nicky went into the company and there is hundreds of people, and he sat down with every single one of them, regardless of whether you're an intern or whether you're the CEO. And it's always stayed with me how much that has mattered, how much that has shaped his perception. He's brilliant at everything, but disproportionately shaped his perception just by giving someone the most valuable thing, which is just their time.
Yes.
And I mean, maybe it's a story of how to be a good partner. Maybe it's a story of how to be in the public eye.
Right.
Maybe it's also a story of how to be a great colleague or team member or leader.
Yeah. Or just a great human.
Yeah.
I think there is, when you're always in the habit of giving then feels a lot like receiving. So when I'm giving my time, it also feels like I'm receiving that time back. When I can continually have that spirit and you have that knowledge of humility. They say, what does humility mean? It means you realize that you are just as weird and terrible as everybody else. When you realize I'm the chief worst person there is. I'm not better than a single person that is in line to do something or attend something or sit in an audience. I'm no better. I've just been through a lot, still been through a lot, and so I know a lot. And when you have that mindset of, I want to meet and touch every single person. If I were to come in here and only talk to you, but not talk to your team, what do you think that's going to do? When you can go somewhere and not just talk to who's the most popular, but also talk to who's the least. Like you will always get way more, and for yourself and for the other person, when you can lower yourself to say, hey, we're just humans in a room. How's it going?
It's interesting that we're figuring people out by how we observe them vicariously. We were talking about it in the context of like a meet and greet a second ago.
Yeah.
What you said there tracks perfectly with that, which is when you walked in the room, you didn't just speak to me, you also asked Berta, who's recording the podcast today, what her name was. And then you said to Berta, you said, thank you for doing this.
Right.
Now, isn't it funny that I remember?
Yeah.
Isn't it funny that was like 2.5 hours ago? And I remember because it was really memorable to me that you did that, because not everybody does that. Yeah. Not everybody will, notice that Berta's in the room with us and she's running all these cameras and she's putting it together. But for some reason, just before we started recording, you made a point of asking her what her name was and then thanking her for doing this today.
Yeah.
Most people don't do that.
Not funny?
And as you walk away from today, I'm not going to remember like that you walked in and said something nice about me or whatever.
Right.
The most shocking thing, and therefore the most memorable, because it is the most unusual, because it is typically the most overlooked, is you acknowledging the other people.
Yeah.
And I've noticed this as a paradox that I almost need to put words to. But I remember in something I wrote a long time ago saying how useless absurdity will define you more than useful practicality. And what I mean by that is the example I was giving was in the context of my old gym, where they have this massive climbing wall in the entrance. And I came home to my girlfriend and said, there's this incredible gym. It's massive. They even have a 100-foot climbing wall in the entrance. What I'm doing is I'm pointing at the most absurd thing to give you a shortcut that tells you everything about that gym. Now, if I point at the most absurd thing, the gym is big.
Oh, I got chills. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So good, yes.
If I say there's a 100-foot climbing wall, there's lots of running machines.
Right.
So if I when I leave here and go, he was so nice, he even spoke to Berta and thanked her for doing the podcast, I'm using that as a shortcut because it's the most standout absurd thing to tell other people everything about you.
Yes. I love that.
And this is why we should value the seemingly petty and seemingly small and seemingly inconsequential, because other people don't, therefore it creates maximal impact.
Yes. That's why the big conversations rarely matter. The small ones do. It's the small ones with strangers. It's the conversations you don't have on the stage. It's the conversations you have in your driveway. It's the conversations you have in your backyard at the coffee shop. It's the conversations you have with somebody passing by in the elevator. Like it's those, that's what defines the human experience. If I were to text you a compliment, right? That's one thing. But if I were to say, hey, I just finished lunch with so-and-so, who you also know, I got to tell you, this person loves you so much. And I share with you what they said about you, you're going to take that differently. If I wanted to give you, let's say if somebody wanted to give me a gift, right? But instead, they didn't give it to me, they gave it to my kids. I mean, that's how much more would that define how much they care, right? It's anytime I go on a stage, I make it a priority that I know the guy or girl who's putting on the AV system, the lapel mic, the everything. I want to know their name. I want to know how many times they've done this today, how they're doing, because it's so easy just to turn and keep talking to who's important and act like they're just doing it. Like it's when you can truly talk to the people that's just a regular person and forget that you don't have to just stick to the somebodies. You don't have to look always for the somebodies.
I used to say that again, this comes from employing a lot of people, that we all have invisible PR, and it shows up in the moments that matters the most, but it's built in the moments that seem to matter the least.
Yeah.
And the example I always think of is working in the New York office many years ago, and getting a message from my team member just saying, "Oh, Jenny's so nice. Tim tripped over and Jenny immediately got up from her desk and ran across to the first aid kit and sorted him out. She's so nice." And I'd hear that 3,000 miles away. And then a year later, I'd be sat with Jenny during her promotion conversation.
Yeah.
And that one thing she did, that small thing she did, was often the time where I'd go, do you know what, this person is a certain type of person and we should double down on them. And then I've got the opposite as well. I've got a little thing someone did to someone who was not necessarily their line manager or significant.
Yeah.
And it, and even things that happened to me years ago when I walked up to someone famous. I've told this story before. It's so crazy. I told this story on the podcast, like episode 3, when no one listened. And then like 3-4 years later, the podcast got bigger and people started listening to, people go back to the old episodes. Mm-hmm. And this famous person tweeted me like 4 years later. I was like, "I heard you're talking about me in the UK, blah, 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 blah." But I was just sharing it as an example for like invisible PR, where I'd gone up to someone famous and asked them a question and they just like, bang.
Yeah.
Like laid into me.
Right.
And I I don't know what they're going through that day, but it always,
But that brings it around like full circle, because like we just said, you can have those little moments where it's the rock wall, right? Mm-hmm. Where little moments of connection, of presence, of real authenticity, of them being with you that you'll remember forever. And I bet, if I had to guess, there's a moment in Stephen at the playground growing up that a teacher, somebody in your life said something that was nice and you've remembered forever.
Oh, yeah.
But I would also venture to bet.
Yes, before you even said, I thought of the moment.
That
okay.
Playground Stephen, where somebody said something hurtful, or rude, or said something about how you look or your appearance. Maybe not even recess, but sometime in your life.
Oh yeah.
And it was just something. Maybe it was about, for a lot of people, it's like their weight or their appearance or their looks, and they've carried that around with them forever. And that, like, without knowing it, that person gave you an insecurity for the rest of your life. And so it's so wild to me how the positive is remembered, the negative is remembered much longer and travels a lot farther. And I mean, it's when I ask that to a group that I'm talking to, there's hands that are always way more raised for the negative, for the one thing, that the power of your words lasts way longer than you'd ever think. The ripple effect will affect people you've never met. I mean, you think of the people who you've touched and the people you've never met, but yet they have a perception of you based 3 persons down, right? And how I talk to my kids will affect how they talk to their kids and their kids. Children I'll never meet. And when you realize that how I talk to the person behind the cashier affects how he or she talks to their kids when they go home, based on what I said, will determine whether they come home and say, I had a really bad day. I had a really hard day. And it's because of what I said, because I was rude or I was impatient because they didn't get it to me fast enough. And all of a sudden, without knowing, just as much as the positive lasts, so does the negative. It's now what I chose to say is responsible for how they're treating their own kids.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.